Hey minions, welcome to Crank It Up. I'm Jim Price, but this is not Bandit Rule 4. I've been gradually losing my voice and I'm doing my best to record this, but Bandit Rule 4 would have been a long video and I don't think I could record that much. But here's a smaller video to show you I still care, because unlike a certain follower of this channel, I will never betray you. I would have mentioned this card as an antidote for Rule 4, but I wanted to talk about a card that I think is fairly unique and it's been very influential for me personally. Because wording always changes, it's hard to say exactly if there is another card like this, but as far as reactions go, you tend to see three types. After the first time, which I loathe, but that's a topic for another day. Once per turn, the better form of after the first time, which may not be enough for what you're trying to do. The third alternative, however, is unbounded, which tends to cause infinite low-ends or things being too strong. You can always choose an arbitrary limit, but there is only one card that I think of that actually uses a reasonable alternative, and that's Guide. Worded differently, unless I'm mistaken, Guide would be the only once per turn per minion card or once per turn per anything. And I find this to be a really interesting compromise between the two extremes of once versus unbounded, because it allows ability to scale with the amount of effort you put in. At one copy, a single reaction would be bland, but moving everything with Idaho Smith, that's what makes it interesting. And if you phrased it as once per turn per minion, you'd have an easily recognizable format that could be repeated often. I personally have found this construct to be very inspirational, as it's become an important balancing lever for me in my design career, which I owe thanks to Guide, but I'm generally surprised that it took the game this long to have this ability the first time, then not do anything else with it. To my knowledge, no Disney or 10th anniversary cards use this construct, and I can definitely think of someone there that should probably have used it. In fact, knowing that this card exists as a balance option, it's interesting to see who would have historically benefited from it. The card that jumped out immediately to me was Odysseus, who can be crazy if you spam Favor of Dionysius. But if you limit it to one counter per turn per minion, it becomes much more reasonable. You still have other problems, like breaking the Sonus rule, but it's certainly a step in the right direction. America Chavez feels like it should be once per turn per minion as opposed to unbounded. If this had been considered for good deed, I wonder if it would have had such a hard limitation, especially if you made it a single copy. I also think such verbiage can provide clarity where clarity is needed. Now, I'm fairly certain that Rainbow Rock's exploit was never considered or even intentional, but knowing that it exists, saying once per turn per base after you play a minion here would give you the same limitation as it has, minus the first time part that I hate, while being much more clear as to why this works. The great thing about once per turn per X is that you can make X whatever you want, like once per turn per minion, base, card name, whatever the situation calls for to give you a lot more balance options. And it's not particularly complex or difficult to understand, and it opens up a lot of design space. In fact, when I think about why this ability hasn't appeared more, I wonder if it's because it doesn't lend itself to many types of abilities that immediately make you think to use it, and once per turn per minion can rectify that as well. It doesn't lend itself to playing reactions, because each new play would be a new minion unless you limit it by minion name. Movement is obviously a candidate as it's the example we have, so Bring 'em In could have been limited to once per base it moves. You could react to power counters being gained, as once per turn is limited, but unbounded creates an infinite loop. Anything that you can think of where the ability can have meaningful things happen multiple times per turn without cards leaving play, once per turn per X should be candidates for balance, and I thank Guide for bringing this to our attention. Can you think of any cards that would benefit from this perspective? Let me know in the comments. Sorry for the short video today. I look forward to bringing you Rule 4 and a bonus video as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's shut it down.